Hello everybody and welcome to my review of Wrong Turn, the remake of the original 2003 version and the 7th film in the franchise. To be honest with you, I was not really excited for this remake, because just based off of the last few films in the franchise, which were complete crap, I wasn't really excited for another movie to be added in this franchise. See, I liked the first couple of movies in this franchise, and I didn't want to tarnish it with, just more and more movies like they've been doing before. But I saw the trailer for this movie, and I had a little bit of more optimism because it looked actually well made, and that excited me for a Wrong Turn movie because we haven't had a well-made Wrong Turn movie, and it seems like forever. But then I watched the movie, and I realized that this movie should not be called a remake, because this has nothing to do with Wrong Turn. Whether it's the franchise or the original, this movie has nothing in common with any film in the entire franchise, besides the title. And of course the original writer of the 2003 film. But this movie is much, much different than that. And to give a little insight on the story, it's about these, young adults who go out to the Appalachian Mountains to go hiking. As in a normal Wrong Turn movie, they meet this group of people that seem to be hunting them. Now, different than the original, this is not a group of inbred cannibals hunting them down and trying to eat them. This is a group called the Foundation, which is this reclusive civilization who have lived in these mountains for centuries. Now, this is far, far different and more medieval than Cannibal Creature, which is definitely a big twist when it comes to a Wrong Turn movie. Now, this is far, far different than anything we've seen in this franchise, but I do not hate it because I ultimately believe that the original franchise in itself was growing very, very stale with the repetitive nature of the franchise as it was in the later movies. But I do not think that this story was told the best of its ability. I do think that the director of this movie, Mike P. Nelson, did do his best in trying to make this story better, but ultimately I think the writing in this movie is not very good. The decision-making skills of these characters is very, very poor, and it's hard to sympathize with these characters because their decision-making skills are just so bad that it's hard to root for these buffoons, especially when they're technically intruding on these people's land in the first place. I do believe that the second half of this movie is the better half of the movie, because the first half is trying too hard to trick you into believing it's a Wrong Turn movie and ultimately just subverting to something else. But that's technically not a spoiler, and I'm not going to give any really spoilers in this movie about any character deaths or any actual actions of this movie. But just realize that this is not a movie in which the characters are going to make choices that you go, oh yeah, that's a smart choice. Oh yeah, I definitely do something like that. Oh, I would definitely do that. No, you are not going to be saying that about these characters. But the gore in this movie is not half bad. If you do like gory movies, or maybe you're not particularly good with gory movies, be warned. But most of the kills actually take place off screen, so you're not going to get too much of that, but some of the aftermath is very, very bloody and gory. So if you're into the gore aspect of maybe the Wrong Turn movies or any horror movie, then you definitely have a little bit there. Now, this movie is definitely more of a reimagining instead of an actual remake or a reboot of sorts. And yes, it's trying to make this slasher movie into something maybe more grand or more fantastical. But ultimately, the actual writing of this movie, a lot of the lines and character choices are far too silly for me to actually fully enjoy this movie. I do respect the twist. I do respect it's trying something different. And I do like the, fantasy edge to it. But the intention aside, this movie is not the best. I do enjoy the ending actually a little bit. I do enjoy the way that it kind of unfolds at the end. It's a little bit silly, and of course a lot of this movie is silly and goofy, intentionally or unintentionally. But I do think that the ending is the right amount of goofy to end this movie off right. But if you do want to watch this movie, I kind of recommend it because I do believe that it provides, a little bit of difference compared to the other movies in the franchise. But I do ultimately believe that it is stale, especially the first half of the movie is very stale. It's like just another bad wrong turn movie. But the second half definitely adds more interest and different ideas. But ultimately, I think the movie is not great, but it is not awful compared to some of the later wrong turn movies. So I'm going to give this a 2.5 out of 5. Yes, a 2.5 out of 5 stars. So if you want to watch this movie, just be warned, the characters are not smart, but the filmmaking itself, I think, tries its best. If you can get over the writing and just kind of get yourself into the story, I believe that you might have a good time. So that's it. That's my video. I hope you enjoyed watching. I will see you later. Thank you so much. Goodbye.